today the wrestling world lost arguably, and definitely in my opinion, one of, if not the best, super heavyweights in the history of professional wrestling. Leon White, aka Big Van Vader, or just Vader to WWE fans, was a great wrestler as far as big guys go. Before wrestling, he played on the Los Angeles Rams for a few years in the late 70s, even participated in Super Bowl 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think they went against Pittsburgh. And, transitioned into wrestling after rupturing his patella playing football. And, kind of like did okay for himself for a little while, I think, with Vern Gagne's promotion, and then went to Japan, and that's where his career really, really took off. Became a legend in Japan, came back over here, killed it in WCW, becoming a 3-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, known just all over the world for feuds with Stan Hansen and Sting, Cactus Jack. In WWE, even though his run was fairly short-lived, he had feuds with Kane and The Undertaker and Mankind and Shawn Michaels. Put on a lot of really good matches. A guy of his stature being able to do things like moonsaults off the top rope, which won, Wrestling Observer fans voted Move of the Year in 1993. He put on a 5-star match against the Great Muta in 1991.
Wow.
And even as recently as not that long ago, maybe 10 years ago or so now, Pro Wrestling Noah becoming tag team champions with Two Cold Scorpio. There's not a lot to say that hasn't probably already been said about Vader today. A guy whose presence was felt even farther than just the bounds of inside the wrestling ring. He showed up on Boy Meets World.
I was just going to say, I didn't start watching wrestling until the late 90s, when he was kind of, on his way out as far as, the major promotions go. But, yeah, his bit on Boy Meets World, they kept playing. It was him versus Jake the Snake, and Sean and Corey going back and forth between the matches, or at least Corey going back and forth between the match and Sweet 16 and all. And yeah, that was a big part of my childhood, and it wasn't even about the wrestling. It was just that he was part of one of my favorite shows as a kid. And then to a few years later become as big of a wrestling fan as I have become, knowing that, it was kind of a little precursor to what my future obsession would be. And, he was a multi-tiered act. He could do, like you said, he could be the big man, he could jump off the top rope. He could be funny. He could be serious. He was always intense.
Yeah.
But known pretty much widely. He's widely known as just a really nice guy.
Yeah. A real gentle giant, Foley talks about frequently of how he reacted so sympathetically when he lost his ear in Germany.
Yeah, because it was a match against Vader.
Yeah, and how Vader kind of freaked out about it.
Yeah.
Great guy. Maybe not always the most popular.
No.
He had the whole Will Ospreay beef.
Yeah.
But you know what? That ended up turning into, no... They say no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
Or there's no such thing as bad publicity or whatever. I don't know.
I think the second one's better.
Whatever it is. The man did what he loved for as long as his body would allow. Wrestling up to, I think, even just earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
especially knowing for as long as he knew that he was kind of on borrowed time, barring, some sort of miracle recovery.
Yeah, we covered it. The doctors gave him no more than 2 years, and I think he's kind of on that mark.
Close to. Yeah, and he left behind a great legacy.
He did.
Between here, New Japan, All Japan, WCW, WWF, even almost beating, I think, Bram in TNA a couple of years ago.
Hey, he came back and beat up Heath Slater in WWE, so.
Yeah. The only detriment to me, and it's an opinion I've been very vocal on, I think, on here.
Oh, yeah, many times on here.
And just conversations in general with other wrestling fans, it's just that knowing that he was on a schedule, knowing that he had kind of a time limit that WWE couldn't go out of their way to get him into the Hall of Fame while he was still alive.
Yeah.
I know he didn't have the most stellar run in WWE, and there was controversy around, him and his feud with Shawn Michaels because Shawn had all the pull in the world back in the day.
He was still always at the Hall of Fame. We saw him at the Hall of Fame the year we went.
He inducted somebody not that long ago.
Yeah. Was it
Stan Hansen?
Was it Stan Hansen?
Yeah.
I was pretty sure it was Stan Hansen.
So the idea that they couldn't find a spot for him, it irks me.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on it too much on this video because this is really just about remembering Vader for being the larger-than-life, giant, mammoth helmet-wearing beast.
The Mastodon.
That captivated a lot of audiences, not just here in the States, but all over the world. Condolences out to his family, his sons, all of his friends, and the wrestling community as a whole, for the not unforeseen, but still, it almost still feels tragic too early. The loss of Vader, rest in power, from the Wrestling Rundown. It wasn't a fluke. Lucha Underground really is back. For real.
Did you question it?
Well, with the feed that we watched it last week.
That's true.
I just kind of thought maybe I was having a fever dream.
Well, luckily for us, it stuck around.
Yeah, we had a pretty, not lackluster, but quick and to the point episode of NXT.
Which is to be expected after a takeover.
Yeah, and then,
Lucha Underground picked up the slack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Welcome to the midweek wrap-up. We only had 2 actual matches on SmackDown, or on NXT, so I'm just going to talk about all the non-match stuff first, then we'll go through the matches. It was a lot of post-takeover stuff. Ricochet saying that Velveteen's spotlight is now his. Velveteen Dream says that it was game over in Dream over in Chicago.
That's what he said.
He was asked, how do you feel about your loss to Ricochet? And he says, I said it was dream over in Chicago, so what do you think? So, very cryptic words from Velveteen Dream. Shayna, kind of confident, kind of relieved that she's still champion after facing Nikki Cross, having Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir with her. Alistair was not in any mood to talk to anybody. He needed to get to his locker room because he was beat to shit, but he will be live next week at Full Sail. And EC3 showed up at the Performance Center. And
totally not pre-recorded.
No, not at all. And he proclaimed that he will be on every single takeover from this point on, and is demanding to face top talent, and he means everybody. And
then, I'm curious, because is he just going to keep showing up on the takeovers after he gets a main roster call up?
Probably not, but I'm assuming he's meaning for the rest of his NXT run.
All right.
But you never know.
That's kind of lofty goals.
Honestly, everyone's going to be there. Everyone's going to be there anyway, so why wouldn't he just show up?
Yeah, he
can do that.
And there are a lot of guys who've kind of been on all, if not most, of the takeovers since they started.
Yeah.
But not very many of them have been on all the takeovers. Except for maybe a referee.
EC3 will be the first. And then our two matches...
He's going to go back in time and get on the past takeovers, too.
Yes. Our two matches were Bianca Belair defeating Dakota Kai.
Balor?
What?
Balor? Bianca Belair?
Bianca Balor.
Uh-oh.
No. And the War Raiders defeating the Mighty with Fallout on Shane Thorne. And then in Lucha Underground, we open up with Katrina trying to steal the Gauntlet of the Gods from King Cuerno. Cuerno letting her know that he's not keeping that around. He gave it to someone, and he doesn't know when or where it may be. That probably means he handed it over to Aerostar. Katrina's just looking for a way to kind of preserve herself, like get her life force back. We can even jump a little bit further. She ends up talking to Antonio Cueto and gets him to make a Grave Consequences match between Phoenix and Mil Muertes next week, so she can use the life force of Phoenix to try and get her physical form back. And we'll even go a step further that we had Antonio Cueto at the end of the show be confronted by Jeremiah Crane. Jeremiah Crane has now thrown his name in the hat, and Antonio Cueto has made it a 3-way to the grave match. So, triple threat casket match setting up for next week on Lucha Underground. So, potentially first time ever. If you've heard of another 3-person casket match, triple threat casket match, post down below, because we'd like to know. But in matches, we had Son of Havoc, Killshot, and the Mac retain the Lucha Underground Trios Championships. From the newest signees to Infamous Inc., it was originally supposed to be Tejano, Dr. Wagner Jr., and Famous B, but Tejano and Dr. Wagner are down in Mexico making money for Famous B. Famous B's 3 new signees...
They're not even wrestling, they're just shaking people down in Mexico.
That's what I expected, to be completely honest. But the 3
people upside down and emptying their pockets out.
The 3 new signees were Big Bad Steve, he was a mechanic, Sammy Guevara, who we've seen on many PWG shows, and the Savage, Jake Strong, FKA Jack Swagger.
FKA, maybe at some point in his life, Swaggy Jackson.
You're just hoping for Swaggy Jackson. But he is Jake Strong, and he went ballistic on all of Infamous Inc. afterwards, kind of living up to his name, the Savage. Actually ended up breaking the ankle, potentially, of Famous B afterwards. So he's definitely made a name for himself. The crowd was very much behind Jake Strong, but the Mac, Killshot, and Son of Havoc are still the Trios champions. Then we had the first of 7 matches for the Aztec Medallions, heading into the Gift of the Gods match, where Dragon Azteca Jr. defeated Drago with an avalanche rolling prawn hold off of the top rope. Holy shit. Dragon Azteca has the first of 7 Aztec Medallions. Then Cobra Moon and Drago were attacked by Johnny Mundo and Taya. So we're setting up a little bit of... it was after Vibora got involved in Aztec Warfare last week and helped eliminate Johnny Mundo, we're having some Reptile Tribe versus Worldwide Underground, some beef going on there. So we've got
fallout.
We got quite the feud heading forward in the next couple weeks. And in the main event, Pentagon Dark, despite how monstrous Matanza is, made pretty easy work of the Monster Matanza with 2 Mexican destroyers and a package pile driver. Pentagon Dark is still the Lucha Underground champion, and he was about to break the arm of Matanza. Antonio ended up coming out, holding up the key, which is kind of like the source of his power, kind of like drives Matanza. Matanza was able to escape the ring, only to be slapped in the face by his father. So now Matanza's like the angriest, saddest little puppy dog in the world who just didn't do so well for his owner. But yeah, we've got some interesting things heading forward in Lucha Underground. Kevin Hawk, what did you like about the midweek?
I like that we saw Bianca Belair's best match to date.
Yeah, no, she stepped it up. I mean, she had Dakota Kai, which helps.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai's a fantastic worker. So, yeah, I mean, the pace of the match was great. Her different bits of moves and just her overall, like, I mean, that stalling suplex where she walked around 3/4 of the ring was pretty fantastic. So keep it up, Bianca, because we'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, we don't want to be negative on Bianca Belair. We've been waiting for a match kind of like this to open up and be like, what is she really made of? What is really going to have her stand out?
Yeah. I'm going to give my to, I'm gonna say Aleister Black. Not only, we talked about how good he was at selling prior to moves happening against Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the last time where we've had someone actually stop to give an interview and then tell the interviewer, I can't do this right now. I need to go sit down. The fact that he's still really selling the punishment that he sustained in that title match, even after him and Sullivan's match is over, is great for not only getting sympathy on him, but also really adding to how devastating Lars Sullivan is. So I appreciate the attempted promo, only to be like, hey, I gotta go rest. So I appreciate the selling post match. What did you love?
The Trios Championship match was really good.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of going that way myself. I think my biggest point of that match itself, I think I'm really excited to see what Jake Strong does, because I mean, I was a big Jack Swagger fan. He got stagnant towards the end, but that's kind of what happens when you're on your way out of WWE. When you hit that mid card, you sometimes do all the same stuff constantly. So, but it's nice to see him back on TV. I'm interested to see what his future holds for Lucha Underground, and whether or not he becomes kind of the top tier talent. I could actually potentially, after beating up all of Infamous Inc., him potentially facing someone like Sammy Guevara for one of the Aztec medallions.
Yeah.
I could see that happening somewhere down the road. Did you dislike anything?
Not particularly.
It was a pretty solid show.
Yeah, I mean, both shows were pretty solid all around. As much as I like NXT, and I'm okay with, they don't film a ton of extra stuff before the takeovers.
Yeah.
I do get a little tired of that every single match had a music video package recap thing, because you could throw in one extra match and highlight the championship match, highlight the tag championship match, highlight the women's championship match kind of thing, and then highlight the other two matches next week. So we're not splitting it up, especially if next week maybe we'll have Ricochet in a match, highlight his win kind of thing.
and even the fact that we have Aleister Black, who's going to be live, if he's still kind of limping and selling, then you can here's what Aleister Black went through at NXT TakeOver, and then have him come out and do the thing. So recap
the match as it's relevant.
Okay.
Don't recap the entire pay-per-view or show, I guess. Because then, maybe somebody who hasn't seen TakeOver watches it, they just got the highlights. Now they don't have to go back and watch TakeOver again.
Yeah.
But
let's be honest, who's not watching TakeOver?
Just kidding.
Lies.
Watched
Lies.
it 4 times already.
Seriously?
Nope.
Lies. Stop lying. You're a terrible person. What
about you? Did you dislike anything?
No. I didn't dislike it, but it was very strange watching Matanza not be as devastating as he was the last 3 seasons. Maybe it's because Dario isn't torturing him and all that shit. So maybe he's gone a little soft. So maybe Antonio just kind of slapping the shit out of him and treating him the way Dario used to.
I almost think he's afraid of Antonio.
Oh yeah, no,
I think that's why he didn't do as well. I think he's not in the mindset of being. I think because of their past.
Yeah.
And maybe Antonio was a total hard ass their whole life, so he's in the mindset maybe of, oh, I can't do anything right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble, whatever, and that's going to throw him. That's going to be throwing him off his game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very very.
I think Dario was kind of his safe place, his safety blanket. He got used to Dario. So.
Yeah, they had the brotherly connection, and there was the whole backstory of the red bull that was on his desk being the murder weapon for against their mother and stuff like that. So yeah, there's some interesting backstory with the Cuetos, and it'll be interesting to see what happens between Matanza and Antonio. But yeah, overall, a fantastic week. The midweek is done and over. We got a few more videos coming up over on Reasonable Wrestling Fans. But for now, guys, that's it for week 204. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Click those links down below.
There are so many social media links.
There's a podcast link.
That's the one that says SoundCloud.
And there's Reasonable Wrestling Fans.
It's reasonable with a W.
Like wrestling. Where we will be having a brand new episode of Question of the Week with Thomas Wolfe. There'll be a brand new unboxing. We had an entire Pro Wrestling Crate of just women's stuff, so look forward to that. And I do believe we are in the process of having a brand new episode of The List coming up very soon. So look
Top 10
forward.
Money in the Bank moments.
Exactly. So look forward to all of that. You can stay over here, go back, check out our reviews of both NXT TakeOver and Money in the Bank. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.
Vader time.